Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hopefully, my audio is good. I have LightBurn up, so therefore I have a flicker. I'll minimize LightBurn, and the flicker goes away. So if you do see flicker, I'm sorry, it's LightBurn. So I wanted to try out a video just so it could play and let everybody get here and get settled in. And it's about 3.5 minutes long, and I think that went pretty well. I enjoyed seeing the stuff that I've engraved in the past. Just pick some of the stuff out of the last probably 9 months. They'll all look pretty good, but I want to just run down and say hi to everybody real quick. I know people sometimes hate it when folks do this on live streams, and other people like it when they do it on live streams. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments, but I just appreciate everybody being here. So we have Jerry and Jeremy, B. Rich and Jim. Robert's here. Kenny's here. Very cool. 3D Medic Vince has left a comment. Awesome. Jaden Turblanche is here. And all right. Very cool. So this video is kind of sponsored by ACT Graphics and Albertus Turblanche. He gave me the artwork for this AR-15. So I want to put a link up on the screen here when I get LightBurn running to his Facebook group, so you guys can check him out and show a little support in return for him supporting me and sponsoring the artwork on this build. Hey, we've got Maker Theory. I almost said therapy. Maybe I need therapy. Hey, there's a second channel for you, Geo. Maker Therapy. Because some makers do need therapy, I would imagine. We have Kai Hamilton. Very cool. I'm showing solid Wi-Fi signal, so it might be on the StreamYard end. Yan is here. Jack is here. Oh, okay. Albertus is here on his son's account. Very cool. All right. Well, what I have for you today is just a couple blank blowers. I do have an upper in case I end up having time to do one. But I did a 3D printed jigs so that I could just slap these right down on the laser bed. And then we're going to go through and put the artwork on both sides. That is the plan. Let's see. Jeff is here. Mike's here. Guy is here. Carl is here. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So I guess we should get started with LightBurn first. And I brought these files in, and they didn't come in exactly the size. So I was taking the 3.5 minutes and trying to get these grouped and sized exactly where I needed them to be. And I was almost done with that. For some reason, LightBurn is recognizing some of my groupings that I had in Illustrator. So I'm going to have to go through and group some of these. And as you can see, I have LightBurn up, so I got some flicker. But here we go. Let's get into LightBurn. And then let's get into one second. I had this pulled up. I would recommend, if you can, changing your group link, Albertus, to a custom link. So it might be a little easier to find if it'll let you do that. But I'm going to pull this up here. All right, here we go. It's ACT Creations and Graphics. And the link is this big long number right here. But if you just search ACT Creations and Graphics and find that group, then that's where you want to be. You can see he's got all kinds of artwork in there. I shared my live stream. Awesome. And then he's got PMAG files. There's just all kinds of artwork in there for you to check out. There's some live files. But yeah, be sure and go check out that group. Again, that's ACT Creations and Graphics. All right, so I'll get rid of that at the moment. Then I'm going to have to resize this whole messy stuff here. And I know this needs to be about 200 from beginning to end. So let me just grab the lower receiver part and resize it to width of approximately 200. That should get us close. And my goal is to just probably going to do these individually just to make sure everything's lined up. Now let me move these out of the way. Just going to pull these down below. Then here's for the Picatinny round. Whoops, I lost the charging handle. Let's try that again. Just grab it off. Center this up. And I'm going to hide the black layer and show the red layer. And then what I want to do is take all this and make it a template because I don't want to accidentally mark lines. Then I'm going to use this template to line up each individual part. Like I said, that needed to be about 200. So let's see where we are. Bring back our black layer and zoom in. All right. And Kelly, thanks for stopping by. Jack Humphrey, thank you for being here. Awesome. Audio and video is great. That's good to know. Other than what I have now termed the LightBurn flicker, because it only does it. The LightBurn's on. Watch this. No flickering. Now it's flickering again. Can't make heads or tails of it. All right, so this template isn't totally exact to the artwork that we have, but it's close enough to get me in the ballpark. And I want to grab this piece. Group that, and I think everything else. Yep. All the other little pieces are grouped, so all I have to do is move them around and I can grab that big piece. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is ungroup this. And it should be in fairly good shape to frame one of these. I think the first thing I'll do is this piece here. So let's get it framed up. Still a little large. All right. So what I need to do is decrease the size of the whole piece of artwork just a little bit. Let's see where that gets us. Now we're a little better. Okay, got my reading glasses. Nope, they're here. They're normally lost somewhere. 10 pair of them, and I can never find any of them. All right. Yeah, I should point that out. I'm using the 60 watt JPT today with the 200 millimeter lens. It's ACT. Actually, let me post that link in the chat so you can just click on it. There you go. All right, now we're looking much better on our size. I'm going to check this top one real quick. Very good. It's looking pretty good. It's just a little, let's see. Yep, sure is. It's a little off to the right. Did you guys saw my little framing keyboard? I love using this thing, but you just got to make sure you don't accidentally hit the dang start button. At least when you're framing, it won't start the laser from framing. So you're safe when you're framing. Here's this little keyboard that I use. All right, now let's frame these two together, and I think we might be in business. Good. The top one still needs to come to the right. There, that looks good. So in LightBurn, I'll show you what I'm doing. Is I'm adjusting these templates to be framed correctly, and then I can go back and adjust these graphics to line up centered within the template. So this one is good and good to go. So now all I need to do is pick a setting and it'll be ready. Yes, Kenny, I did print my own jig. Actually, I think I'm going to put those up on the website pretty soon and just sell them, and I'll just give attribution to the gentleman that designed them on Thingiverse. I think it's just a regular Creative Commons license. But I think this piece looks good. I think while I'm checking, I'm just going to double check this piece over here. See where we're at, because those are all joined. Yeah. Now these little pieces up here are going to be good, but the this needs to come over to the right. Let me frame it with just the hull active. That should be where it needs to be. Yeah, the biggest issue I had with this design that I would recommend is instead of PDF, let me minimize LightBurn. Instead of just the PDF, is export them in some sort of vector format already, because when I import the PDF or open it with Illustrator, it wants to come in as an image, and Illustrator wants to trace it. And I know that's not how you designed it. So what I ended up doing is going to Adobe Reader, exported it out as an EPS file, and then opened that file with Illustrator so I could get the vectors pulled out of it, and instead of trying to do a trace on all that intricate artwork. But yeah, that's what I would recommend. And to size, yeah, that would be great. Sometimes though, you can import files from Illustrator that are correct size in Illustrator, but they might not come into LightBurn at exactly the right size. And that's just something you have to deal with and resize it and hope your template's good enough that even though you're resizing it, it still lines up perfectly. Yeah, I was reading the comments here. Let's see. Actually, AI, it would be, but there are many outlines because there are many layouts. Yep. And then Kelly says, agree, would love a flattened AI option. Yeah. Flattened AI would be great. But even importing it as an EPS, I really like the detail. How do I find the correct settings to use? Lots and lots of practice. There's my library. Lots and lots of testing. And I'm going to run my standard aluminum. And then I've got some shades of aluminum. And I think I might, the shiny might not take the anodizing off. It's pretty light. So I'm probably just going to run this very light setting. The shiny is lighter than very light, and then see how it does. And that'll be basically my test. So it looks like I'm probably ready to go ahead and run that and basically have my first mark be the test. I'll just do that little slice in the middle, see how it looks, and then adjust from there. Jerry, I posted a link there in chat with all his artwork. Okay. He's saying that he finds it easy to arrange the SVG design in a PDF doc, which is great. But for some reason, Illustrator was not cooperating today, and it imported everything as an image, which I don't know why, but that's the way it did it. I can actually even show you guys that and see if you've had any artwork that's happened to. I'll go ahead and get the burn started first, and then we can take a look at that in a bit. So I'm going to start with this middle piece. I'm going to assign that setting to the black layer and switch cameras, and then you can watch it do its thing. Switch to the correct camera. All right, so we're going to be focusing on this little section there in the middle. I'm going to run that first and see what happens. If this camera would cooperate and focus. So I'm going to minimize LightBurn and hit start from my little keyboard so that you don't have to worry about, nope, I can't minimize it. I need to start it. All right, and there we go. That actually looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not going to move it though. What I can do is move this camera down a little further. There, now you can see that a little better. So the detail's definitely there. It looks looking good. I think I'm just going to leave it at that setting and run the rest of this side. Yeah. Kenny says, that was quick. I can't wait to go shopping. All right. One more time, I'm going to frame this side and make sure we're not going to get cut off. I think we're in good shape. All right, let's go ahead and run this next section. $22. All right, here we go. Yeah, and this shouldn't take very long. I'm anticipating maybe a minute just to do this section. And I'll tell you the settings that I'm running. I'm running a speed of 3,200, power of 65, an interval of 0.03, Q pulse of 200, power 65, frequency 55. A 60-watt JPT. There we go. Let me bring you around so you can see this side. That looks darn good to me. You can go fairly deep on them. Sorry, that's my broken camera adapter. You can go fairly deep. You're not going to go as deep as a factory engraving typically. So as long as you're not getting that deep, then you're good to go. And now we can do next section. Let me hide this. Dang it. Don't know why. For some reason, Illustrator didn't, LightBurn didn't recognize the grouping from Illustrator, which it normally does. Oh well, no big deal. Let me just get these grouped up. Okay. We are now grouped. Sorry about that. I had all these grouped before, so this section was in one group, and then this piece was by itself in a group. Then, yeah, this section's in a group. For some reason, this thing didn't come through in a group. About this one. It looks like it. Yep, it's grouped. I don't know. All right, we're going to get this piece right here now. Get the camera ready. That is just framing the hull right now. That doesn't mean it's going to engrave all the way down. That one piece might drop off the side a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. We're going to find out. Everything else looks good according to my eyeballs with no glasses on. And here goes this piece. There we go. That's looking really good. Let me bring the camera over so you can see it. I'm going to have to put different light on. I might have to turn on my overhead lights so you can see how white that actually is. It's looking really good. Now let's do this big section. I'll get LightBurn off the screen here in just a moment. One thing I do notice. All right, here's something I noticed. Let me get back over here. I don't have the cutouts for the selector switch, which isn't a big deal because we can fix that. Let me hide this. And now what I want to do is make sure all this stuff is ungrouped. You guys ever use the cut shapes tools or the Boolean tools? I'm going to show this again. All right. Looks like inside. It looks like that one is cut out. These are not. And that's cut out. So what I'm going to do is go through and delete the outer lines for all of them. Then I want to group them. Then I want to do a Control D and duplicate. So I want 2 copies. So Control D duplicates. Then I'm going to bring the graphic back here. Take and align this first one exactly where we want it to be. Should be right there. Then I'm going to ungroup them. I'm going to take that one and change it to orange and then hide it. I'll bring it back in a minute. That way there's less clutter on the screen. And the way LightBurn is designed, it's ideally designed to be in wireframe, so it's easier to see. So let's just go to wireframe. So if you do cut shapes, you got to think shape A minus shape B. All right, so we want shape A minus this shape will be B. Then I can go to Tools and Cut Shapes. And here you'll see this shape that I just cut out. We can just delete that. Then again, A minus B, Tools, Cut Shapes. Take that, delete it. A minus B, Tools, Cut Shapes, and then delete that. Now you'll notice these pieces that I'm using as cookie cutters are getting used up every time I do the cut shapes. So that's why I made a second copy and put it on the orange layer so it'd be able to see a little easier. Now we can just take this and move it into place and use the orange copy for framing. So I'm just going to hide the blue one at the moment. So now I have the orange copy I can use for framing. And we're just going to frame outer shapes only. And I have them both selected. So if I move one, it moves all. It moves the orange layer and the black layer. Now if I do contour, it's going to frame everything. So I have it in Hall mode. It looks pretty close. So now I'm just going to select the orange by itself and frame it only. I'm going to frame contour. And I'm not going to do outside shapes only because I want to make sure these lines are lining up. That is not. So we can move those. I'm hitting the wrong button. Now I need my glasses. Fairly close. So close. It's looking better. Let's see. Okay. Like those two shapes are just a little too far apart. I'm gonna try something and scrunch it just a little bit. That has them closer. That looks better. So what I did is I just scrunched that template from the right side in and squeezed it just a little bit. And then I'm going to bring the original artwork in, and I think it'll still look fine. We will find out. By doing that, it should have it pretty well lined up. That's good enough. This is my lower, and I'm just going to go roll with it right there. I think it's going to turn out because the artwork doesn't overlap in any of the holes, like actually bleed into them. So I think it's going to be fine. So let's just go ahead and run it. And let's see. Why was that? Okay. Chris, I'm running it from a desktop, and we've been looking into this issue forever. That one selector switch was just a little off, but I'm not too concerned about it. If this was for a customer's firearm, I would have definitely fixed that and made sure it was 100% on. Just so you know. Uh, 80% lowers. I have a few. There, that angle, you can really see it turning white and looking pretty. Anybody have any questions so far? I think I have an RTX 3060 video card. So it's newer and updated drivers. I have like almost 100 gigabytes of RAM in this thing too. Oh, and look what I did. I didn't notice that other piece was grouped in there. It should not have been there. That's okay. We're going to run over top of it anyway. There, see, nobody's perfect. Perils of a live stream. It was, let me show you. This little guy right here that somehow was grouped in there, but all the other little pieces are not grouped in. So that was weird. a feeling that should have been somewhere. What I'm going to do is ungroup this piece. Sometimes it's hard to group pieces like this. So I'll drag from the bottom right corner up and select as much as I can, then hold shift and then repeat the same process and try to grab everything and then control G and group them. And then I'm going to control C and make a copy, and then control V, put this copy here, and then mirror it. And then we'll make it the correct size. And then this is just something that happened in my transferring from LightBurn to Illustrator and then back to LightBurn. I know that piece was whole whenever I was working with it earlier. So it's not a defect in the artwork. That's just something that happened along the way. All right, so I'm going to frame this guy up. And that one, it's so small, I can do the contour and still be able to figure out where it's going to go. I'll just turn on outside shapes only. And then get you over to the camera so you can see it. All right, we're getting closer. I'm just trying to watch it through the camera actually on StreamYard. I think we're looking pretty close. And it needs to come down a little more. All right, I think we'll be safe running it right there. I'm just going to go ahead and hit start, and should look fine. Nudge it over a couple more millimeter, tenths of a millimeter. There we go. There, that blends in well enough. If you weren't looking for it, I don't think you'd see it. And that just leaves us with one more piece for this side. And that would be our trigger guard right there. I'm going to change this to Hall. It'll be easier to line up the straight edge. Now I'm going to switch it back to contour. Yep, they look good. And here we go. And there's that side completed. That side looks pretty good. Just one little snafu up there at the top, but it kind of blends in. So now take that one off and grab the gray one. Put this guy over. And we're ready to go for side 2. Yeah. I'm going to click in. It is now. Any questions, anyone? So there's side 1. We can do side 2, and then anybody has any questions or you want to see any other demos or anything, be sure and let me know. So back to LightBurn. Yep, just 2 passes, Jerry. That's it to get the white mark. I have a cool mark on aluminum that leaves almost a translucent type white finish. I bet that would look really good on this lower. I might have to do another one and do the translucent mark. So here's the parts we need for this guy, and you see they're not grouped either. So I'm going to group that one. Then group this one. And this one. And I'm hitting Control G on my keyboard just so I don't have to keep clicking group. Learn the keyboard shortcuts in LightBurn. They're extremely handy. That would be my recommendation. Does anybody have any votes on which part I do first? I do not recommend. A diode can mark on anodized aluminum. It just takes the anodizing off. It's not going to engrave it deep. It's going to be like a light to dark gray finish whenever it's done. And it looks like you can just rub it off basically whenever it's done. You can try it, test it. I personally wouldn't want to do a gun with it, but you know, in a pinch and you need to put a mark on something, you could definitely do it. Like you wouldn't be able to do an NFA engraving with them because you won't get depth. So it just depends on what your use case is at the moment. All right, let's group this guy up. Sorry, I thought I had this LightBurn on screen while I was doing this. Okay, now I think I have this one all grouped up. I will have to adjust the size of it. There, everything came at once, so that's very good. We know that other one was about 198-ish. So that'll be close. Let me show my blue template and we'll get that back. Adjust it to 198. Move, don't need that guy anymore. Control Z, I'm gonna hide this, grab these, move those out of the way. Show that again. Group them, move that out of the way. I'm gonna hit P to center that graphic, and then let's see. Then hit P to center that one. It'd help if I had the right one. P. All right, so those are pretty close. Right where we need to be. And we are missing 2 holes in this one. So I'm going to have to do the same process. So the first thing I'm going to do is hide this layer, ungroup these. This time I'm going to delete the inside ring, so I have a little more wiggle room. Can't remember if this one needed done. I don't think so. Yeah, it does. Delete the inside ring. I'll delete the inside there. Okay, now we can show this again. Okay, we're looking good. I'll hide this and then do exactly what I did the last time. Control D. And then while it's selected, I'm going to just go ahead and hit orange, change it to orange, group it, and then hide it. So I'll have it for later. So you know we're going to need our template again. Now we just need to cut the holes out of the graphic. We are fairly well lined up, it looks like, as far as our template goes. Oops. So just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and frame this and frame each one separately so I can get it exactly lined up, which is what I should have did the first time, but I didn't. So that's what I'll do this time and show you. So let's just pick, let's see. Let me pick this whole thing first so I can get the whole receiver roughly lined up. I'm hitting the smaller button on my framing keyboard to bring it down to the correct size. I brought it down a little too small, so I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger. Now it looks to be exactly where we need to be. Now let's frame these cutouts, or if you want to call them that, frame these holes up for our pins and put them exactly where they need to be. All right, that one's good. That one needs to come over and up. Just going to do these individually. That one's over and up. That one's over and up. Okay. We have all of those exactly where they need to be. Now we can bring the artwork back. And I'm going to hide our template. And I did have to resize this. I think it was 196. Bringing the template back and still just a little big. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do these individually anyway. So let's just frame them individually. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to group this section and group this section. I think we'll do this piece first. I'm going to move these out of the way. We'll get this piece lined up. It's coming in a little bit long. I'm going to have to scrunch this whole thing up, I believe. Like I did on the other one. That's it about where it needs to go. Yeah, these can be a pain in the butt. Hey, my team lost today too, the black and the gold. That was disappointing. All right, that lines up with the template perfect. So let's see how that frames up now. Much better. All right, just by making those adjustments, it is definitely framing much better. Hopefully you can see that. Now I'm just going to go back here to LightBurn and ungroup these. I'm going to take this group, A minus B, and tools, cut shapes. Delete this, and then this will be the first piece we engrave, and we'll just center everything off from it. Let me frame that and get it aligned perfectly. It just needs to go to the right, I believe. That should be good. I'm going to double check my focus for this. I know it's come down a little bit. I'm just going to split the focus distance kind of between this level and this level. All right, that piece is done. On to our next one. Let's frame this guy. Needs to be roughly right there. Frame the hull of this. Until that one needs to be adjusted. Okay, I think we should be good. It's definitely close enough for government work. I'll show you that setting, Jerry. Stop the flickering. Speaking of Jeremy's red, Jeremy and I are starting a podcast that will debut Wednesday at 8 p.m. And the first thing we're going to tackle is what is a MOPA and explain kind of what it is versus a non-MOPA. and then go into material tests and colors with the MOPA laser. So be sure and tune into that Wednesday night. All right, now I need to go back to LightBurn. And Jerry, if you come up here to your wrench and screwdriver and you hit right here, other options, play sound on job finish, then you will get that little ding whenever your job is done. That's not available on diodes and CO2s because you shouldn't be walking away from your laser and waiting for a sound to say it's finished. You should be babysitting, basically. All right, now this guy I don't have any frame for, so I'm just gonna, or template, so I'm just gonna frame it and see what happens. And actually, that looks good where it's at right there. I'm going to be on the high end of the focus range, but that's okay. I just know with the 200 lens, it'll still engrave and turn out okay. Just from experience. Okie dokie. Okay, now I need to bring that blue layer back, which is the template, and frame it. And I want to frame everything because we moved all these holes into position, so everything should line up perfectly. With everything lined up, we can now move the graphic into position on the template and cut those holes out for the pins. All right, so if our template is there, everything should line up. And sometimes you can stretch things out to make them fit a little better. Let me bring this down. And that should be good. Now what we want to do is ungroup our template. Then just do A minus B again. Tools, cut shapes, and delete that one. And then here. A minus B again. Got that one. And I think that's all of them. So this should be lined up and ready to go because the blue template was in the perfect position to begin with. I'm going to do one more double check and just run the hull, and that does look good. So let's give it a go. How loud is the sound of the laser coming through on your guys' end? It's pretty loud being right here beside me. The eyeball on that skull is in the perfect position right there where the hole is for the safety lever. That's impressive that you cannot hear that laser. It's unbelievable. Because it's loud. All right, we're getting closer. Closer. Now let's get this top. Let's see. Get the buffer tube piece lined up. I'm going to change this to contour. Again, thank you, Albertus, for supplying these graphics to do this demo with today. All right, there's another piece knocked out. Now we got this guy to do. I'm going to put it in haul mode and get it lined up. Now that one, I'm going to stretch it just a smidge. Get it closer to the edge and then go. We just have the trigger guard piece to do. Then we have one more piece here to do. Let's see. Just that piece right above the trigger guard. All right, and then one more piece on the trigger guard. The inside there. Bring it there we have it. I think that turned out pretty well. It got lost, Jeremy. That's why I'm going to go back and add it right now. And that's my fault. So I don't know where it went. So what I'm going to do is this inside piece right there. So the same piece we just ran, I'm going to mirror it and then run it inside that trigger guard. So here's the mirror, here's the frame. Now that's complete. Well, and that concludes engraving one AR-15 lower. Let me get rid of LightBurn. There we go. There, hopefully that's coming in clear. Get you in front of the lights. Now you can see how white it is. Then I can also do the top of the buffer tube retainer. I'll do that sometime later, but that's it. No, Kelly, I did not bridge over the top of the buffer tube. I was going to do that. Probably later. I don't know what I did with the pieces for that. I thought I brought them in. But don't know. I have no idea what I did with those. With that. But that's just a quick demo with the pressure of a live stream, not wanting to screw stuff up, but not wanting to take forever. But I think it's fun to do, just to challenge myself and see if I can actually do it without screwing it up too bad. It is not very deep, Tony. I just ran 2 passes, basically enough to remove the anodizing, remove a little bit of material, and color it white. But I didn't go too deep. Could have went deeper, but chose not to. But it's not going to rub off. It's set, so it'll be there forever. Unless I would take a angle grinder to it or something. But anything else you guys want to see? We're at about an hour. I can hang out for a little longer, or we can wrap it up. Any other questions? Somebody's got to have a question. If I don't know the answer, I'll make one up. What happens ENUAG gun? I'm not quite sure. I'm not familiar with that term. That's funny. I do have 2 more lowers and an upper to do. I'm not going to do them tonight, though. Motorized XY fiber. I've been wanting to try one of those out and see how well they do. If they can actually get the seams to line up perfectly, it would be pretty amazing. You could do some pretty big pieces of steel. But the question is, how well are those seams going to line up? Because what you're basically doing is having the laser do LightBurn's print and cut feature for you. So you have those sections, and where they overlap, it's got to be perfect or you'll notice. Oh, what happens when you oil the gun? Now, I don't really oil at least the outside of my AR-15 receivers, but you could if you wanted to, I guess. I don't, and Kenny, I don't have the experience with one of those motorized XYs to make sure that the seams. Are you talking about one of the big ones that have the XY? It's like a big, they're this long, and the whole galvo moves around. That's what I was envisioning. Oh, the XY table. Well, there's one company that's making basically a Y table, and it just runs back and forth, so it can do an item and then move and move and move for subsequent items, and that seems just fine. But it's not. I haven't saw it perform one continuous long item and line the seams up for it. So I don't have the experience seeing those in action to know if they work. Yeah. Do you recommend doing a charging handle? Oh, like engraving one? Yeah, I don't have any problems with engraved charging handles. I have a few of them. Oh, Trotec still doesn't support that table. That's been on like 2 years, and I think he envisioned being able to just throw a whole gun in there and do the whole thing at once, and it still doesn't work. That's terrible, especially for like $60,000 to $80,000 laser. I could do a charging handle. I have one right here handy. This is the upper that I have. It's a 300 blackout upper with one of my Form 1 suppressors that I made. Yeah, but this Form 1 suppressor that I made works really well. See, I need to engrave this part. The dust cover was not done by me. I didn't do that. I bought it. If I can get the charging handle to drop out. There we go. But yeah, we could definitely engrave this thing. Put something on it. Yeah, LightBurn. it'll probably be supporting that stuff in the future. I think they're still dialing in getting the repeat mark setting to work. So the repeat mark would work with the XY table because it just sees it as another motor and runs it. But yeah. You added a conveyor belt? Well, dang, I want to see that. Where do I need to go to see a video of it? Maybe on Discord, something like that. Where's that LightBurn file? There it is. So you can tell I have LightBurn open. Let's see. I do have the charging handle pieces right here. Let me put those in place. We'll size them down and throw them on this charging handle real quick. All right, they are in the center. Let me frame them. And that camera. Almost lost my glasses again. And I forgot to frame, so that's going to get bigger. Not frame, focus. The other F word. Smaller rather than spoon. All right, do contour. Make sure it looks good. It does. Put a pretty scroll on that one too. There we go. And where else would you want to engrave on the charging handle? Because you could, some people do the whole thing, I've saw, but there's really no particular steps other than just framing it up and running it. I wasn't worried about this being, just a little unlevel because a 200 millimeter lens has enough depth of focus, depth of field to be able to engrave that and still stay in focus. It almost had it. There it is. That's all I would do for the charging handle. Just run it the same way I do the rest of the lower. Oh, that's cool. Kelly says he uses his conveyor belt for coasters, jewelry boxes, etc. Very neat. I think that's all I have for this evening. If you guys didn't see the LMR stream yesterday, I'll show you these beautiful Valentines that I've made. So you got a hashtag favorite husband. This is a good one. A lot of wives probably think this. I tolerate you. Well, I like this one. You suck less than most people. And this one rings true. For sure. There is no one I would rather be in bed or lay in bed beside and look at my phone. Kenny, my go-to lens size is typically a 200. Probably 9 times out of 10, I'm using a 200. Maybe 95 times out of 100, I'm using a 200. When I had the Racus I was using, I typically used a 175. So that 175 to 210 is like the sweet spot that handles a lot of jobs with ease, and you don't have to worry so much about your focal depth or your depth of focus with a smaller lens like a 110 or 70. And then, you know, you don't have to have your laser way up high like a 300 lens. So those are the, that would be my go-to. Always have been. I just want to check one thing here real quick. And remember, go check out ACT Graphics on Facebook. Yep, I'm probably going to go check out the news and see what's going on. That I guess, I don't know, stuff happening around the world. Go catch up on world news. I don't want to talk about it on this channel. It's not what I'm here for. But remember, podcast episode 1, Wednesday night, myself and Jeremy from HTL Holsters or HTL Customs, which it's soon to be. But thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. This will be available via replay, so you'll be able to watch it again later if you need to. You can even make a little short out of my mistake if you want. You know, any publicity is good publicity, I guess. But if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and wind it down for this evening. And just click the bell so you'll know when I go live again for the next one. What? My son's peeking around the corner. He must want something. Probably wants to buy V-Bucks, knowing him. See, Jeremy says his 2 favorite lenses that get used pretty evenly, 175 and 220. Yeah, so right in that sweet spot range. Yep, definitely. Jim, Jeremy, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And Tony and everyone else for leaving a comment. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. But that's it for tonight. I guess we'll go catch up on news and get prepared for some more snow. Not as much as what you guys have in Michigan and out west, but we're supposed to get a little bit tonight. All right, folks. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.